Welcome to the OTech Talks podcast, where it's all about working on technologies. You will hear the latest tech information, and your host, Kashif Manzoor, brings together product overviews, how-tos, best practices, tips and tricks, and troubleshooting techniques.
Welcome to otechtalks.tv. This is session number 105, and your host Kashif Manzoor is available with you. Today we are going to talk about multi-cloud, as the situation is reached where we started our journey from the cloud to arriving on the multi-cloud. And this is, when I say journey, mean organizational journey, personal journey, or even the learning journey. So organization started the transformation journey of enabling organizations to move from on-premise, transform digitally to support their customers and their employees to cloud era. And now the multi-cloud is the new normal, and in this approach, an organization uses cloud services from multi-cloud vendors. For example, one organization is using cloud services from different cloud vendors like Oracle Cloud, Google Cloud, AWS, Microsoft Azure, Alibaba Cloud. It enables organizations to achieve flexibility in choosing the best services of the cloud vendor with the cost optimization benefits. So there are a number of benefits to it, that how you want to join the league of multi-cloud vendors. And we will go in detail today. That's our topic of today. And as this is session 105 recorded during month of August 2022, so we will talk about, let me give you the parts. First, we'll talk about difference between multi-cloud, hybrid cloud, and distributed cloud. And then we will go to what are the benefits of and why organizations are going to multi-cloud. What are the challenges in the multi-cloud adoption? What is the role of enterprise architect if you want to architect the multi-cloud? Some thoughts on it, personal experience. And then I will cover about the challenges of management of these cloud providers, some use cases, and that how, if some companies are going into multi-cloud, then what are the different management solutions available to do the multi-cloud operations, deployment management. And then we will also cover the connection, the networking between multi-cloud. What are the options on the table? And some of the common vendors available for multi-connection, for the network connection across the cloud, or what are the management console or the solutions available. So that is, I think, agenda for our today's session. So hopefully you will enjoy it, and then it will get clarity. And you can say it's 101 of multi-cloud. So let's start with we know that nowadays every IT department in an organization is heading towards the multi-cloud era. And let's start our heads clear about it. What is multi-cloud? What is hybrid cloud? And what is distributed cloud? As we're hearing, these three terms are sometimes used very, very oftenly. So if we talk about multi-cloud, is where an organization uses the cloud services from two or more cloud vendors, such as the Oracle Cloud, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, or Alibaba, or any other cloud provider. So I'm just naming the famous one. A hybrid cloud is where the organization uses on-premise services, or we sometimes call it a private cloud. An organization has a private cloud. Your company has a private cloud or on-premise services, on-premise installation, which is from last 20 years. And then you use few from any of the cloud providers. That's public cloud. And these will become hybrid cloud, mix of services which are running on-premise in your data center, and then the services from the Oracle or from the any cloud provider. That's become the hybrid cloud. And then we will have another area which is distributed cloud, where organizations want to have their own decision and choice for the cloud resources that they want to have. It could be multiple public clouds, or even an Oracle cloud at customer, or in an AWS outpost. So in this scenario, the services will be like public cloud managed services and governed by the public cloud vendor. So you will have cloud provider services on your on-premise, but those are being governed and treated and managed by the cloud providers. And this is a famous example of Oracle Cloud at Customer or Azure Cloud at Customer, where Oracle is giving you the cloud provider services which is in your territory, in your region, or in your country. And this is sometime being used due to regulatory requirement that the countries and the organizations want that their cloud or their services should be hosted or available physically located in their country. So that's some of the basics terms which we have covered about the multi-cloud, hybrid cloud, and distributed cloud. Now the first question that comes in mind is, why multi-cloud? I think a few areas to think of. Vendor lock-in. That okay, I don't want to become one vendor specific, but as it's like, in other words, multiple cloud vendors lock-in. Let's be realistic on it. So organization want to use two different cloud provider services so that they don't want to rely on one cloud provider. Then the data center availability. This is also linked to the compliance requirement that you need to have an in-country data center, and certain cloud providers don't have that services and the data center in your country or your location. Utilizing the best services from the cloud vendor who specialized in certain services. And this is an amazing example I will give you, where right now Microsoft Azure and Oracle Cloud have signed an agreement where in the Azure customers, they will have access to Oracle RDBMS, Oracle Autonomous Database Service. So it's like utilizing the best services available from different cloud vendors. Fourth point could be the low latency requirement for certain application, and that vendor doesn't have a data center in that region, and you want that service so that you operate for another cloud vendor. Price optimization, you want to have a flexibility, your contract negotiations on the basis of pricing, or which price is being offered from which cloud provider, you go for that service. By accident, there's another scenario where your organization operate for multi-cloud. Within organization, the different departments operate for different cloud vendors, and there were no central management. So that's how you accidentally reach to the multi-cloud situation. On the last point is the resilience. As an organization, I need to have a backup side, another side with other cloud providers, so that I have a resilience and the disaster recovery site in place. That's the reason I will go for the multi-cloud. These are the common reasons. There could be another reason, but this is what I thought of while I was drafting, that what are the common questions comes in my mind. Now, while multi-cloud strategy brings several benefits to organization, if I need to implement a multi-cloud, then it's mean there are some challenges. So if we few to mention are compatibility. If I'm gonna use different cloud services, how I'm gonna be these services compatible to each other? It will increase complexity for the organization, for the IT organization, IT department, how you're gonna manage it. Security, how the multi-cloud providers are gonna offer me the security, and then how the security is available in my data center, my organization. Interconnection between different cloud providers. This is one of the most challenge. And then the learning curve for the IT teams to learn about different cloud providers. This is another challenge. One challenge we are getting is shortage of the trained resources. Now, When you get the trained resource, then okay, the one person need to administrator or the cloud architect need to understand the basic terms of each cloud provider, because they name it differently, although the basic concept remains same. Then the cost estimation and reporting, how I'm going to manage different cost estimation and then report on it. The cloud management, if I have a 3 cloud providers, and how I'm going to manage the single pane of glass, I will get the reports and everything. And then drafting and architecting a multi-cloud architecture. So these are some of the common challenges which I'm observing it while talking to different colleagues, friends, and customers. Now let's start with the architecting the enterprise architecture in the era of cloud, multi-cloud. If we talk about the biggest shift I see for enterprise architects is to architect the solution in an era where multi-cloud is the reality, and increasingly it's becoming the new norm. Let's face it. Now it's bringing challenges and opportunities for an organization that we have covered on it. So if I'm working in the capacity of a cloud architect with different organization, and as in my day job, that's what I do every day. It's becoming normal that I should be aware of all the basic terms of different cloud vendors, so that I can talk about and understand the limitations of the different cloud vendors. What are the key challenges and how I'm going to get into them? This is another pressure on me to learn and remember about different cloud vendor services and how they call them. Now let's start with the basic example and how it's challenging for any organization, an IT organization, and the personals working in, and the architects, cloud solutions engineers, and system administrators. How it's important that then they need to be conversant with all the basic terms of different cloud providers. We need to have the basic network set up on the cloud to start using it. Let's see, right? Different cloud vendors are calling it differently. If we talk about cloud service mapping, what different cloud vendors call about the networking on the cloud. Oracle is calling Oracle Virtual Cloud Network, which is VCN. Normally you will heard this term VCN in every Oracle talk when you're talking about Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. AWS is calling about Amazon Virtual Private Cloud. So VPC is another common term you will use. Azure called it Virtual Network. Google called it Virtual Private Cloud. So all is the same networking concept with the different naming conventions. Now we go further and then we talk about we need to establish a connection between cloud provider and on my organization with the on-premise organization. So I need the network connection. There are dedicated routes or dedicated connection available. For example, if in Oracle, the common is Oracle, you use it Oracle Virtual Private Network, which is site-to-site VPN, or then you have a dedicated which is Oracle Fast Connect. Similarly, Azure is calling is Express Route. So now if we compare the Virtual Private VPN, which is IPsec VPN tunnel, so Oracle call it site-to-site VPN, it's IPsec VPN. AWS is calling is AWS VPN, Azure is VPN Gateway, Google called is Cloud VPN. Although we know we can make out the understanding from the concept point of view and the clarity point. But I'm just trying to give you the message that that's how it's happening right now. So it means there's a challenge to learn on it. Now with this basic example, you can imagine how hard it is to keep refreshing your knowledge. There's no doubt about the basic concepts remain the same across different cloud providers. What are the common areas that come to mind to master the multi-cloud, right? How to address the compatibility and interoperability across different cloud services. How to maintain and monitor the cost of different cloud providers. How will multiple cloud providers connect, right? How to manage the different cloud providers. Each provider has its own console. Security, including authentication, single sign-on. How to address the operational challenges in the broader term. How is the resilience or disaster recovery managed across different cloud providers, and what are they offering? See, we will go further in depth and try to see how organizations are targeting these areas. One of the most common approaches is to use the cloud management platforms, because these cloud management platform can help to manage the different cloud providers. This could be adding an additional layer on top of the native capabilities of different cloud providers. Some specialized third-party cloud management platforms use their own toolkit by utilizing the native APIs of providers. So there is a big market from the different cloud management console, cloud management platform point of view. That you take this platform and then you can manage your multiple cloud vendors. Another area is to focus on the infrastructure as a code from HashiCorp, right? With the infrastructure as a code, all the deployments, provisioning, and life cycles are managed. It is a great help as it is not specific to any cloud provider, and all the common toolkits are available from all the cloud providers. And that's one of the DevOps and the system administrator work that they spend a lot of time on infrastructure as a code. The third area is where we can use cloud native capabilities like Kubernetes to control the architecture, which is not specific to any cloud provider. So every cloud provider is offering that one. So three areas: cloud management platforms, infrastructure as a code, or the cloud native capabilities. So almost it's crossing in these three areas, which are the common areas as an organization you need to take care of it. The next question that comes to mind is about the deployment patterns. What are the common ways to deploy different applications and databases across different cloud providers? Let's take some example of on these point. It could be, let's see, what are the common deployment patterns and application? Let's take an example. What are the common ways to deploy different application and databases across different cloud providers? It could be an application on cloud provider 1, right? And database on cloud provider 2. We can divide the application to multiple cloud providers. A few node to cloud provider 1 and another node to cloud provider 2. How the latency is, the application architecture is supporting that. So there are a lot of questions on it. The database can also have a distributed architecture. Is it supported or even required for the solution? Applications, databases on the cloud provider 1 and disaster recovery site on cloud provider 2. Another option in multi-cloud is to use X services from cloud provider 1 and Y services from cloud provider 2. So these are some of the basics, right, for any architecture that when I'm deciding it based on the application, what type of application I'm using it, what are the logic and architecture behind, or I need to develop even on it. So with these open questions, so now we will go to the second part of this our talk. That's to discuss is the next is the management platforms. The cloud platform is another area where there is a requirement and it's essential for an organization. The key question also comes to mind: how I will manage the multi-cloud deployments, as each cloud provider has its own management console. Is there any consolidated platform which can give me access to all the deployments across the different clouds? Because although I got the infrastructure as a code, right, but I need to manage it. I need to have the view on it that, okay, how I'm gonna administrator and govern all my cloud 2 to 3 cloud providers. Now, if you think about what is expected from these cloud management platforms, are they able to give visibility to the certain components? For example, automation and orchestration, how it can support infra provisioning, configuration management, and a lifecycle management. How about the security? Can include IAM, SSO, encryption, endpoint security. How these tools are helping me to have a governance and compliance. Are they able to provide what I need to fulfill my regulatory and compliance requirements? For example, risk assessment, threat analysis, audits, different cloud services and resource management and governance on top of it. What about the monitoring? How these platforms can help to monitor the performance of different components like storage, networks, compute, and even itself if the application is running or in database, and either it's in Kubernetes or are you in the old architecture? So how I'm going to monitor it? And while I know that each cloud provider has his own management and observability type of and monitoring solution which is being offered, the another important component is cost management. The most essential component, as different cloud providers have different metrics, right? Matrices is how I will be able to monitor the cloud resources, utilization, and cost, and how I can charge back if I need to have and build internal organization and users. Orchestration. I mean, if I need to have an orchestration on top of it, if it's available in the cloud management tool or not. I need to put the responsibilities and flows and approvals on top of it. So these are the questions that, okay, how these cloud management platform are providing. So if we talk about, then I went back to some basics. And then I found Gartner's 2020 Magic Quadrant, which is, they called it 7 multi-cloud management platform. That was introduced in 2020, but after that now Gartner has released the cloud management platform guide that's I think in the 2021 and 22. So these cloud management platform guides is a new document which I didn't get access, frankly. So I just relying on the information which is if we talk about Cloud Magic Quadrant 2020, so there was a Cloud Bolt, Flexura, Hypergrid, Morphis Data, Scholar, Snow Software, Imbotics, VMware. So these 7 were part of that one. And now there are other, I observed it because while I was searching it, some of them write IBM Multi-Cloud Manager, then OpenStack, Cloudify. So these are some of the other one which I think there's some more work need to be done on that. Now another question. So after the cloud management platform, so some of the cloud provider or the management platform I need it because which can help me to have single tool which can give me access and statistics and my governance, automation, security, monitoring, everything in from the one tool. So the management platform, after that, the most essential part is the connection between different cloud providers. Right? It's a fundamental question to think about how, and I need to get an answer on it, that before moving into multi-cloud strategy. If you think about the scenarios, so do different cloud providers have a direct connection between their data centers? Or a third-party service presence that needs between these cloud providers? So as long as these two basic conditions are met, the foundation for the multi-cloud journey is ready and anyone can embark on it. So if I think about it, the biggest multi-cloud adoption challenge is to have a network connection across multiple cloud vendors. The choice at hand is to use a third-party network provider like Avetrix or F5. We will go more available. Or then, however, so if I relate this one to go with the Oracle Cloud and Azure network connectivity, which is already established. So these both cloud providers are providing a multi-cloud network connection between their data centers already established. It's not yet available for all the global data centers, but it's coming based with the roadmap and all that. So as long as you have the both two data centers, Microsoft Azure and Oracle Cloud, and then it's mean they have already established the connection between, and you can use any service out of it. So let's go back to how the connection network is established to support the multi-cloud option, what is required, and who is providing such a network across different cloud providers. A few of the points to consider are how the data flow, whether it's cloud to cloud or from on-premise to cloud and vice versa. So if you think about every cloud provider has its own virtual routers like, right, VCI, OCI virtual cloud network, AWS virtual private cloud, or then Azure cloud virtual network, Google Cloud VPC. Some of the network pointers comes in my mind. Connecting multiple clouds to your data center, if I need to have a connection, right? So connecting cloud providers to my own center or on-premise data center, or then I need to have cloud-to-cloud connections with different cloud providers. Maybe it's just over the internet or a direct connections. Several cloud applications with cross-cloud workflows. To have on-premise sites spread in different places and then connect with multiple cloud providers. So there are a number of open points on it. There could be several patterns, and different cloud providers have published some material to support these patterns. Going back to the topic of networking across different cloud providers is the center of cloud adoption and architecting the right strategy to go for multi-cloud. And that's the fundamental and basic question. Now let's look at the native capabilities of different cloud providers which are required to be used multi-cloud deployments. Now definitely we need to have those in place: network, virtual network, DNS, VPN, peering, load balancer, security, storage, notifications, messaging, logging, monitoring. All these are available native capabilities from different cloud providers. Now, how Gartner is naming this one the multi-cloud network software, which they named it MCNS, the cloud networking software. So if we talk about Gartner's 2020-22 multi-cloud networking software MCN's blog, so they have mentioned a 9 one, and that I will put it in the show notes. It's starting from Cisco F5, VMware, Cohesive Networks, Arista, then and the other one which you can find out in the show notes. So there's another market of multi-cloud networking softwares which need to be in place. So as long as these are available, then it's mean you are good to go to adopt for multi-cloud strategy. Either you accidentally reached, or it's part of your cloud adoption strategy or your digital transformation strategy. Now your digital transformation strategy is guiding you that cloud is enabler. And once you reach to cloud, then the multi-cloud leads you to have more benefits and capabilities in place, which we discussed in the start of the session. So starting from multi-cloud to hybrid cloud, the benefits which I am having, what are the challenges I'm going to get into it, what are the different patterns available, what are the challenges from skills, resources point of view, which I need to face, or any organization need to go for it, right? Understanding the basic terms of different cloud providers, and then how I'm going to have a connection between different cloud providers, how I'm going to manage, how I need to have a management platform which can help me to manage the cloud providers, different cloud providers. So that's it for today, and that was our topic, which I think we went it very well. If we talk about fundamentals of multi-cloud, there are more areas to go through it, but I think that will give you sufficient knowledge to start your research and your basic multi-cloud adoption. Now, each cloud provider has established the multi-cloud and the cloud adoption framework, and if you want to check multi-cloud adoption framework on Oracle, or even in any other, if we talk about OTech Talks, the session, there are session number 99 and session 100, where you can go and where we covered the cloud adoption framework from different cloud vendors, and what are the leading cloud migration challenges, how to develop a cloud migration strategy even, and then how to do cloud migration workload assessment, the workload migration to cloud, getting started. So all these are number of recorded sessions are available, and you can head over to otechtalks.tv, and from the menu item you can go under the cloud and you will get number of sessions. Once again, thank you so much for joining, And this is a platform to learn and share from each other. And over the last 1.5 month, I was spending time on learning the basics of multi-cloud, and then the cloud adoption, that okay, if customers are going to multi-cloud, what are the common challenges, what are the benefits they're going to get into it. And then now definitely each workload or the application will have own compatibility, interoperability, and other security, single sign-on challenges. But as a strategy, it will give you the quick start. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful and blessed life ahead. And please keep sharing your feedback to the otechtalks.tv. And this is a tribe where we are learning from each other. We are inspiring each other.
Thanks for listening to the OTech Talks podcast, and be part of Tech Talks at otechtalks.tv. It's a turf to share ideas, insights, and innovations.